Testing, testing. Michael Wickerson here. I am completing this video series on behalf of ARA Jewelry Designers, which is Grasshopper Tools for Jewelers, created by Ralph Schroeder and Bernard Muller. Their website's here. I would suggest going into it. And if you've been following me on YouTube the last 3 months, you can see I started a very extensive series, which I am going to continue. And I'm just going to grab in here for a second and show you, just for those that are still interested in following what I'm doing with the 1001 scripts, is basically I'm working with and learning as much as I can about Python scripting for Grasshopper for Rhino. And I will focus those videos on that information and that learning curve. As for what I'm doing here, I've decided to go in and I will enlarge the screen. And I'm going to make a video interactive series dealing with the clusters that are available in ARA Parametric Jewelry GH Innovators. So on here, you can see you can go to their website, which is ara-jewelry-studio.com. And already I've begun with a kind of video series on here, which they've honored me through some development I'm doing for them, the first development I've ever done. And these videos I'm going to try and streamline and make very short. And even though I am writing few small scripts that deal mathematically with some simple curved geometries for starters, I do intend on using my Python skills as I develop them to make their clusters even more proficient and efficient. But that said, let's just get rid of that. It's worth looking into, but if you became a member, actually, maybe I should leave it on there for a minute. If you decided that you did want to get the guide, you would contact these accounts. You would get all the information, the recent downloads, what we're developing as they're being developed, and it's being updated regularly. And I'm working pretty hard with Ralph on this. And I know I've been in discussions with Bernard, and I look forward to future discussions. I'm not going to go through that whole website. I leave that up to you to have a look at. But first of all, I'm not a jeweler. I'm a sculptor. I've been casting for 20 years, and I've realized in my interest in the last couple of years in Grasshopper for Rhino that this is a great format for me to go deeper into. And what I wanted to show you is, even though I'm developing this kind of structure, they have given me a membership, so I've been able to download the clusters, which are basically node-based for all of the things coming out of this section would be ARA tools. And ARA tools allow you a wide range of forms, and I have had a hand in the helix, I've had a hand in the sine, cosine, spring curve, and I've had a hand in the pinwheel. And as those come out, I keep putting them into my files in Grasshopper libraries and keep adding to this. And hopefully, with my skill set, I'll be able to add not only to this one, I can go on to the ARA jewelry box, which is not here. I'm going to have to go over because, as you know, I don't like the ribbon tool. It's hard to get access to here. But here is a ARA jewelry box, which you actually start building things. And what I have over here on the left are examples of not only that initial script dealing with gold weight estimate, which gives you all this data, which is updatable and totally interactable in your Rhino window. That's pretty fantastic. The next one really focuses in the jewelry toolbox. And even though that's just a tool, that's not how I think of tools, even though I should. But the idea of a cluster for gold weight estimator is a tool. I think more curves and geometries at the beginning stages are what they are. The next ones are really these ones, which is the ring, which is fabricated together with the, if I put this on, you'd have the gemstone, and you'd have the ring fabricated for you. And you end up working without any knowledge of Grasshopper or Rhino, really. Download it, get on ARA, and start using the sliders to customize your own geometries, your own parametric geometries. There then is the ARA or ARA Studio, and I think that's on here right here, and that'll allow you to go into parts, settings, and shanks. And I think the example there is this one, which is, sorry, I'm just trying to navigate in very small space. You can see that that's going to actually produce a ball placement, which is nice. And then the last section, which is here, is the ARA Vault, and I've just started to bring things in. And although I don't bring a lot of my objects in there, I'm sending them directly on for development at ARA Jewelers, and they're sending it back to me where I can import what I've recently done directly into, say, my curve tool, for instance. So I'll do curves, displays, gems. But I wanted to show the 4 main categories that you get. So you're not just getting one kind of one specific, and you see all the data that's contained within here just by selecting everything on the script, which is insane. But you start to see what the complexities of what's going on here. And as you piecemeal and pick things out of it, you'll see you start highlighting all the incredible data that's been provided for you in the clusters. You simply have to play with it and get started. I think it's just a wonderful program. And now, even though I have achieved something. I started by just making and playing in nodes in regular um, Grasshopper. And I stayed focused on maths, sets, and vectors. And I thought if I could get a wrangle on those, they say if you can learn about 60% of what's going on in those scripts, you can do 90% of the stuff without having to rely on going deeper into the surfaces, the solids, and the meshes, and all that. You'll get into the you'll understand everything else that's more bulky and geometric, but you'll understand things in regards to what comes before the points, the attributes of the points, the ranges of those points, the series of those points, the number to those points, and the data driving those numbers. And that's where I'm totally passionate about, and my scripting language has moved very quickly from this as to what I showed you earlier, a sense of wanting to learn and wanting to script within all of these Python nodes, which technically are a non-visual scripting cluster. That's how I see it. So if that doesn't make sense, follow this series. I'm going to call it, I believe I'm going to call it, I'll just have to take a look at it on my other side. If you went into, I'll have it here, and hopefully the ones that they want to post, it will be in a playlist of, on YouTube, Michael Wickerson. It will be on a playlist of ARA Jewelers Computational Design Development. And even though I only have 4 in there compared to the several hundred that are in the other ones, you can go in there and see how I interface, and this is the video they've chosen to share on their site. So very interestingly enough, I followed Mosh Hamiane's advice. Do something for 3 months. You'll get an entry job or a placement or interact as a developer to start, and it will become more and more fine-tuned. The sad part of this, and I know most people won't like it, is I can't and I will not provide the scripts on GitHub, because the scripts are, they will be clusters that are hidden and passworded through ARA. So what I'm basically doing is going back to my scripts that I began, the hundreds of them, finding out which ones are applicable for ARA jewelry. And in the same sense, I'm learning a ton because I'm now collaborating and working with Ralph. He uses value lists, he used stream filters. They value my mathematical interests. They're interested, Bernard's interested in Python. This is the way it's supposed to go. We are all working on the same human project, and be it maybe placed and the foundation is coming out of jewelry on here, never once do these nodes have to reference that scale or size. They do fit in those millimeter scales, but if you start transferring this to feet and inches, you've got some major commissions. And I fully intend on using this as the tool to get my sculptors working parametrically, computationally, and generatively when it comes to data and nodes that can get in Grasshopper to pull in information from different files. And I actually had my first student today. I said, I doubt you're going to be interested, going into Python. He said, I want to learn Python when I get back to school this fall. So I have made the developmental leap of faith, and I will continue with this. I have nothing to show really right here, but I will begin after the ARA introduction at Wickerson Studios video 001. I will then go through, and I actually have a very fast surface edit that I wanted to use the nodes in here. But once again, like my early Rhino for Grasshopper ABCs 1, 2, 3 series, and that doesn't make sense to everybody if you haven't been following my emails, but if you go into there, how I began 3 months ago was I started a playlist of, sorry, this is kind of, you can see the images in the background. I started a Rhino for Grasshopper ABCs 1, 2, 3s, and I simply addressed every single node. And you can see on here where I just began with parameter nodes in Grasshopper. Well, I'll be doing the exact same thing in this series. So if you're interested in ARA jewelry and seeing how I develop these clusters and how to utilize the pre-existing clusters, follow the ARA or ARA playlist. And if you want to still continue with the development, which is coming hard and fast on a very programming level, then keep following my 1001 Grasshopper scripts. And I've not uploaded my last 20, but they're based on a LinkedIn course that I've been taking and receiving certification on. It's a lot for me to swallow, and applying those scripts slowly into ARA node clusters is my end game. I hope this makes sense. I hope people are interested in following me, but following the people that I've started to follow and in turn are reflected back on me. I think it's a great community. It's international. I'm looking forward to future algorithmic publications on an international scale. And yes, I define myself as a computational design developer for Grasshopper for Rhino, with obviously an interest in Python. The applications of that are anywhere from 3D print, fabrication, casting, metal casting, jewelry, to robotics, AI, augmented reality, and anywhere I can take it. And the nodes are there in Grasshopper for you to develop this. I feel even though I'm late coming to this and only starting CAD and programming 2 years ago, I really returned to it. I feel like I'm jumping back into what I left in the early 90s last century while I was in math and computers, and then took a turn for physically making sculpture. So I hope you guys are excited. I hope I'm finding a following. It's not gathering a ton of people now. I feel my core interest group is following me. I'm not getting a lot of dislikes. In fact, none. I'm getting a lot of likes, if anything. And I feel it's an honest, true group. And I've taken the role as some leaders on some private Facebook sites that tailor to Rhino Grasshopper and your interests therein. So thanks very much for all your support. I'm going this path. I'm not turning back. And I wish you all the best luck. Thank you.